Hello, welcome to another Watch and Learn. We're going to look back at a replay, this time one of mine, and see what we can learn from it, see what we could do better, and hopefully that's from a perspective of all skill levels, not just my own. This one is sort of sitting around that Conqueror 2 mark, and importantly, right off the bats, I am playing the Jin Dynasty. I very much wanted to do one of these with Jin. I've been spamming them, I think 35 games or so of time of recording. With Jin Dynasty, I absolutely love playing them, but this is just after the patch which buffed their feudal grassland production time. So very excited to then sort of be able to jump into the action with them. And this is on the map Westlake, which is one of the maps that was in the new 1v1 ranked pool rotation. So a bit different coming into things. Very excited to be getting into it with Jin. This is one of my own games from literally yesterday, so I'm pretty familiar with it. I obviously remember the results, but I don't remember. I remember one thing that happens and then a bunch of other stuff. So we'll have a look. First of all, yeah, I'm Jin on the left side of the map, and I'm against our Jushi player on the right side of the map. And I want to talk a little bit about the opener before I talk about the matchup, because I do something a little bit different. The build order guide that I put on YouTube, I actually do pretty similarly most of the time now when I play Jin, that great pasture, fast feudal aggression. But when you can get there early in the game, I like to do this opener, which I stole from a Chinese player, whose name is in Chinese characters, so I don't know how to give him credit. But basically, you take your first, you do the same normal split, 1 food, 2 gold. You send your first villager out of the TC onto wood, the second one onto gold for a total of 3 there. And then those first 2 food villages are going to go onto the dare pack. Then you're going to get survival techniques level 1, and then you're going to get wheelbarrow. And then and then you rally back onto your reindeer. And once this 1 wood villager has enough for that wheelbarrow plus a house, they go onto food. And you don't actually get too much of a delayed age up. It times out really nice, and you get into it with survival techniques plus wheelbarrow. It's a nice way to go into that early feudal age and be able to put some aggression with a strong eco behind it. Anyway, I want to talk about matchup before we jump in and start looking at what's going on. Jushi's Legacy got a bit of a rework recently, right, with the previous patch, and what it's enabled is with the Zhangnan Tower, a really fast, strong feudal aggression. Jin Dynasty, a civ which most people are having success with by 2TC and playing a lot of eco sort of later game. The Imperial Age is very strong and nothing else seems that great. So it's a bit of a matchup of styles where in theory, it's a very big test for New Jin. So New Jin with the Mohe Tribesmen getting that +1 at damage, so they do the same damage as archers. And then also the most recent patch which gave them extra grassland production. So whether that's going to make a difference to being able to pump out those units when you go great pasture, and that combined with making the extra grassland, it doubles it effects, right? Or you've sort of got that double buff in feudal age, and whether that extra production makes a difference in being able to fight in feudal age or not. I think this is a good test against the civ, which has got that very strong feudal age. That said, I think a lot of players are still really figuring out how to play Jushi. The meditation garden that was changed is also very strong. And of course, people are doing a lot with the Zhangnan Tower. But how to best make that work is difficult. Whether you go pro scouts, is it worth ever going song? All those things. But yeah, 2 strong landmarks now and a lot of choice to pick from. I'm aging up now, so we saw, yeah, pretty nice timing there. And we could just leave 2 on food here, those 2 deer villages. And we go up with 2 on the landmark like normal. And then we're rallying onto wood so we can get our grassland, and hopefully we can probably get I'm pretty sure I go for a second pasture here as well. Whereas our Jushi player is doing that more feudal style. They've got a couple of imperial officials out, and they've got the Zhangnan Tower coming up. So nothing too crazy. Quite a bit of gold there. Does he go for pro scout stables coming up? So there's going to be pro scouts. I should remember that. But there's going to be the pro scouts coming out. And what am I doing? Oh, I'm just putting them. So on the straggler trees is the other thing with this build, because you're using so much of the wood. I'm going to go on those straggler trees right away. But I've got plenty now, so there's nothing stopping me from going onto the wood line. Not a mistake, not something you need to take away. And even looking at this, the build order for a new player, the build order is maybe a little bit more complicated. There would have been nothing wrong with me in this game just going on reindeer, doing the normal build that I put in that video or any variant of, and then going for the deer later. That's fine. The other thing I'm doing is getting that second survival techniques, or this case is called hunting tradition, because there's so much hunt on this map. The other new map on the ladder, by the way, in the ranked 1v1 map pool is called Highwoods. Also has a lot of hunt. So another interesting one to play with Jin. Pro Scouts is in. We've got 3 scouts and only just now making horsemen. But because of my delayed age up, by going for that fancier little move, I'm a bit slower getting my units out. So he's gone across to pick up one of my deer, which is interesting. I don't know if it's good, to be honest with you. But he's just done it with 1. Perhaps to get scouting as well at the same time, and then looking to go in with, he's got 4 in total, but this is not ideal for him. They rallied out, but they're not doing anything, but now he is. Although he sees my horseman here, and we've actually got the same horseman count, just the 1 coming in, and he's now got spearman behind it. I went for a Mohei tribesman second, and I remember actually now I'm sitting it at home on purpose because I'm like, ah shit. I didn't really notice he made a horseman, and I can't send the Mohei out across the map because the horseman will chase it down and kill it oh so quickly. It's got 60 HP and the horseman does 9 plus 9. Oh, kills it so fast. That bonus damage really does make a big difference against these poor Mohei tribesmen. But yeah, I'm going for that second war stables. No, not prioritizing the blacksmith yet. Not important, particularly when I'm going for melee. I'm getting some iron pagoda in here now. One of the things which is great with this grassland buff is you can pump out more of those iron pagoda just by leaving at least 3 on gold. It's going to allow you to get more of them, and you can just, because they take so long to train, it's like 40 seconds, you can just pump them out with the instant, or pump them out instantly with the grassland horses, which is nice, and then you just produce horsemen or Mohave tribesmen out of those stables normally. Now, I'm a little bit of trouble, if I'm being honest. He's getting quite a lot of these deer back. Only his own, at least, which is something for me. And I don't have the Mohave count to deal with these spearmen. He's got 5 of them, and now he's producing horsemen. So he knows, okay, I've got the spearmen, so he has to make Mohave tribesmen to counter that, and the counter to the counter is going to be the horsemen. And I don't have spearmen or anything to defend against that, so the horsemen are going to be good for him. And now, this is, whether you love it or hate it, this is the thing with Jin, or at least playing Jin with this style, is you get a micro fight. You need to put all your melee units in 1 hotkey, 1 control group, and your Mohave have to be in a second, and you need to make sure you micro them all back, so those Mohave, as in particular, are never getting attacked, but also these melee units have to not hit the brace of the spearmen, and they also have to make sure that they're going to deal with your opponent's horsemen, which I'm doing a terrible job of here. Macro-wise, things are looking fine for both of us. It's a little bit of like, you know, if someone blinks, the other person might be able to get up to castle, particularly with whether it be China or Jushi. There's always that threat because of that tax income that the castle is not too far away. I might lose some more. And you see how fast they die to the horseman. Really nice from him. Kai, his name is, to pick off a couple units, and I've only got, what, 1 pagoda and 2 horsemen. The problem here for me with Jin is that the horsemen and iron pagoda are the only units I have to fight against against the enemy horsemen, but none of them do that much damage. Obviously the horsemen are equal with theirs, and the pagoda are great tanky units, but only 16, so they do a lot less damage than normal knights do. Oh, didn't notice this, but I did go out onto the deer, trying to be a bit cheeky. This is twofold from me. I actually think it's a pretty decent idea, especially when you get wheelbarrow on the mounted villages, is they get out here so quick. This is denying pro scouts. He can't pro scout this if I'm hoovering it up. 5 mounted villages is like 10 or 12 normal villages, and I can hoover it up super fast. And they can run away quickly. So if he does rush me, even with horsemen, these guys are going to be able to run away pretty well. But I do have to be so on point with the micro, and it's not looking too great for me. But you can see how tanky the Iron Pagoda actually is here. And I'm going to get the tower up, which is going to buy me the extra time too. So even if I don't quite see it to run away, I can go in the tower in the first instance, and once that tower, if it is going to die, I can always just ungarrison and run away there. The rest of my army comes across now, but it's a big mass of units. We see the army value very much in his favor, and that's because did he get that first pump of Yangnan? Yeah, he did. Okay, so this is the problem with Jushi. They get so many units. Did I lose one? I think I did lose a... oh no, it's 5 in there. I'm okay. Now it's all micro. The Mohei need to kill the spears. These guys need to avoid the spearmen, and the Mohei need to avoid the horsemen. I'm not doing a good job. I'm actually losing a lot here, but I am killing spearmen, and this is good here. The Iron Pagoda being on top of that, I mean, the horsemen are going to go down super easy, but it really is a counter of the counter of the counter, and it's all about micro here. So if you are looking to play Jin, this is a great example, or this style of Jin, this is a great example of what you're going to be getting into a lot of the time playing into this feudal style. I actually, on the whole, this worked really well for me. My army value is so much higher. Now, army value is a little bit misleading for Jin because their Mohei costs more than archers and their Iron Pagoda costs more than fucking anything. I don't know why they're so expensive. But I actually ended up pushing this away, and that's big because he did get his pump. So from the Jungnan Tower, that big burst of units. Is it 4 plus 2? Yeah, 4 spearmen or 3 horsemen. Jesus Christ. And I keep all of my, yeah, all 5 there on food, which is great. So I'm going to get all the extra food income with the double survival techniques, the extra wheelbarrow, and now I've got that little bit of map control. And I've got the eco behind it. So it's a bit of a question now. Do I stay here to make sure I'm not dying and to deny more pro scouts? And to see if I can do eco damage? Or do I want to go up to castle? I think he's still making units. He's got 6 spearmen in QH. That's crazy. But he's almost got the gold to go up. So he's probably thinking a little bit in 2 minds here as well as to what he can do. And he's got all of that pro scout. That's so much deer actually. He's insane how much deer he has. So much eco to play with. Oh, he's making Palace Guard. That's an interesting choice. But I think the safe thing here for Jin is to keep making units. Jin actually does pretty well if your opponent gets castle, because you've got the extra mobility and you got Iron Pagoda, which are kind of like knights. I don't want to quite say they're the same as knights. They're heavy cavalry, to say it that way. Which means that, and plus with the horsemen, you can dive an opponent that's being too greedy with a castle timing. So it doesn't hurt to stay feudal that little bit longer if you're in doubt, which I think is the right call from me. I reinvested everything in Iron Pagoda here actually, so my gold's really flowed down, but you see how much I have on food, which is miss macro for sure. That needs to be either in wood, or it needs to... Ooh, Mohei. You see how quickly one little bit turns. But with my blacksmith upgrades, +1/+1. Actually, I don't need +1 range defense at all, do I? There's no Chuganu. So just +1 attack and then melee attack, which is going to help those horsemen and pagoda, which do so little damage, do a little bit more. This is important. Any little lull, you need to be killing off these spears. But there's so many horsemen here. So the pagoda have a good time, but the Mohei tribesmen are having a terrible time. And I do save all those mountain villages. That's pretty good to have that presence of mind amongst the fight, but maybe I'm going to lose a bunch here. The Mohei tribesmen literally right-click in. That's terrible micro for me. That must be a mistake. And I'm losing so much here. Luckily, the horsemen actually taking the Iron Pagoda, 3 out of 5 of them, and now I go back. And I actually had a military lead before. He must have got a second production, or maybe he's just producing so many units, but he got so much out of that. My production's fallen behind. Army value, I'm up, but realistically, that's a bit misleading. These 5 still alive. That's pretty good, but he is going to be able to dive in there. But I think I pumped everything out of grasslands there. And I think, unfortunately, the UI doesn't quite show up, but there's no horses in here, so I did pump the extra grass. Oh, we can see them up here, right? I've got 7 units which come out of grasslands. That's that little grass underneath their feet, which is huge. I still have all 5. I can't believe that. I'm usually fucking lose so many. He's only killed 1, and that was here. Here, oh, that villager must have been mismacroed across the map. We take those, and it's 1-1. Well, I guess it's 2-1 because mine count is 2. And now he's taking in the last of those middle deer, and he can potentially come get these as well. So it's still it's very much still the battle. I'm now going up to castle. I mismacroed my gold, and then I just, instead of making more units, I was able to switch over to the gold, which is a nice thing about Jin, by the way, is you can move them out to villages very quickly, very easily. And then make a transition if you do mismacro a little bit. But I do have to be careful. Aging up and taking a big fight is definitely not what you want to do in any situation with Jin or anybody else. And in this case, I am a little bit worried, but they are pretty quick. 1.62, 1.88. And actually a little bit cheeky of me to turn around and maybe get a kill there. Oh, that's quite nice actually. A little bit of a micro win. And he takes this position, but I lose nothing. I get the amount of villagers out. I think I'm doing a terrible job observing, but we got him out. He does a good job to go pick up the last of those 2 deer, which I had sitting under there. So food-wise, he's still doing great. But he sees me age up and he's moving everything across. Yeah, he's moved across to gold. He's like, oh, I've got to go up too. Whereas for me, my power spike is right now and not much else. So the good thing about Jin is that you can get the veteran upgrades for Pagoda and Mohe Tribesmen very cheaply. They're like Mali upgrades where it's half price and half the time. Super cheap. And I'm making, I have both those units, Pagoda and Mohe Tribesmen. So that's fantastic. I get that little power spike. And obviously I can get my ranged or my blacksmith upgrades. With the Dragon Pavilion, I can go get my tributary states, the first one for free, and then I can make a second one even to go behind his base, which is worth it because they're so hard to kill. And then I can go get relics with a monastery, which I do have already. So it's about securing up relics. Now he's got so many horsemen here, and even though I was the first to castle, I don't have a particularly good answer here. Honestly, I think realistically with Jin, you do kind of have to go barracks. Oh, we do get a little bit of engagement. 2 Iron Pagoda go in and go down. But with no spearman upgrades here, these Mohe, veteran Mohe with just +1 attack, but they are going to clean them up. And the mobility makes it so tough for him to die. I got Dragon Pavilion, which means it's really hard to dive Jin. 3 Mungad Moke defenders come out. Ooh, but I do not react, and he is on my mounted villagers. He gets at least 1 kill here, might get another one. I'm attacking on the other side, so it is a lot of action. There's a lot going on. You can't be expected to pick up everything, so it's about prioritizing. And turns out I prioritize to get the emplacement on that tower in the front. I'm diving here. No villager kills yet for me, but there is obviously a lot of eco here. He's on the gold. There's so many, but he's got 2 villagers there. Really nice for him to have that. I'm killed a couple more. He killed 5 in the end. That's 5 mounted villagers, so it's basically 10. So I'm in an eco position, not in a good spot, but I am getting a lot of kills here, and these spearmen are coming in one by one. And you see these Mohe tribes. He actually does tap out. Those Mohe tribes are doing so much damage. I didn't kill that many, I thought. I need to go look at the graphs here. Maybe a little bit of an overstatement. And maybe he lost all those horsemen in my base. This is the map here. If we go look at the statistics, villager wise he didn't lose that much, but obviously it was tough for him to be able to deal with my base. He lost his whole military, so I was running rampant, which is the reason for the GG. But oh my gosh, I wasn't expecting it to go there. Interestingly, I always like looking at the resources gathered for Jin because I think it's so interesting. 1 TC against 1 TC, or even like a boom, either 1 TC boom like a Mali Cow boom or Byzantine, or even against a 2 TC. If you can do enough damage and take the food, take the map food, the deer and the boar, sometimes your eco can even be above that, and even if you're not going for Flower Pagoda. So it was really good for me, but you can tell the difference when I go off of deer, which is here. I finished up my deer, he's pushed me off, I've got to come back, and then his eco is still going on a very much a steady incline. So the difference that having the hunt matters for Jin is huge, especially if you get 1 or 2 levels of that survival techniques upgrade. But once I'm in castle, I've got that little bit of an advantage. And look how much I kill. 109 to 37 lost. Obviously, my units are more valuable, but the archers are only a little bit more than Mohe Tribesmen. So to be able to kill that much is so valuable. And it's very micro dependent, but I kind of fucked up my micro a lot there as well. But it's mobility dependent as well, which I had so much there. And then yeah, economy wise, definitely obviously him in the lead, but not too bad for me at all. And I think ultimately, like, yeah, only lost some vills at the end when he was losing them, but ultimately losing all of those units. So I did kill those horsemen in the end, and I killed everything in his base, killing those spearmen one by one, and then I was going to be left to run rampant and hear nothing. So really cool. Interesting to beat Jushi in the feudal age like that. It does take a lot of micro. I think in terms of a learning, talking about a watch and learn, that's probably less of a watch and learn than anything, any of the other ones, so I apologize for that. It's more watch and learn about Jin, I think, particularly post-patch. Like I said, most players are doing 2 TC, Flower Pagoda, and then looking to boom. And then once you get Castle Age and you get the Dragon Pavilion, you can sort of mass TCs, with the gather speed of those mounted villagers, and then you get the defenders out of each of your TCs because of the Dragon Pavilion. I think it's probably the strongest way to play Jin, but this is the most fun, and that micro goes far. So yeah, Mohei Tribesmen doing a lot of work there in Feudal. Castle Age, they're doing a good job once you get there, but then they kind of fall off a little bit until Imp, when they're fantastic with all the health and all the upgrades to do so much damage. Anyway, that's it for Watch and Learn. Thank you so much for watching. Any feedback, any ideas, anything else you want to see, please let me know. I really appreciate it. People have been showing me so much love on Twitch recently, comments about Homestead Cup, comments about the stream, YouTube, everything. It's been so wholesome. So thank you guys so much, whether you watch me here on Twitch or anything, or even if you're just stopping by. Thank you. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to catching you in the next video. Cheers and bye-bye.